Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Confessions with Nikki G. The month of February is considered a month of love, so I thought going forward I would cover different aspects of love this month. I have two guests today, but first I have to give a hand clap to my male guest, the first one ever. Can we give him a hand?
Yay.
Yes, finally a male perspective on this subject. I'm so excited. His name is Melvin. I'm glad that you decided to join us today and give your perspective on this subject of love. Would you like to tell us a little bit of something about yourself?
I'm not from Houston originally, so pretty down south from Louisiana, and more of a morally, like, how can I say, raised on with a lot of women, raised around a lot of women, so kind of big on morals and values and family values. So it kind of conflicts with how I was raised in Houston, though.
So you're having conflicts right now. So what do you do for a living?
Oh, well, actually, I own my own business, contract work, remodeling houses and anything that comes along with it.
That'll work. And you wouldn't know by looking at him how many kids you have?
6.
And just as calm, baby, I'll be shaking and everything. 6 kids.
Yeah, I have 6.
But I met him through a mutual friend. I would like to say we like to play cards. That is my me time. So he's a really nice dude. So I'm very excited to have him here today. My other guest with the aspect of the women on this topic is Savanya.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now,
Again.
Savanya is a repeat guest, and I'm so happy she decided to come back. Can you tell us a little something about yourself?
Well, I'm also an entrepreneur. I have my own small business, and it consists of women and men accessories. But that's just something that I'm striving at doing at this moment. I'm still doing it. It's pretty good. It's going along great. But my daytime job is I'm in the medical field as a neurodiagnostic technician. And for me right now, I just feel like I'm just walking a journey and just allowing God to just move in my life and do some things. Just finding self, focusing on myself, focusing on the aspirations that I want for my life and my future. And of course, I have 2 kids, but, thank God I ain't got 6. Like, so. Yeah, just a woman striving at being better. That's it.
And that's all we can do as human beings, to be a better version of ourselves.
Yes.
Every day.
Can I ask her a question?
Sure.
What is a urognostic technician?
Neurodiagnostic.
It do sound kind of
neuro.
complicated.
It is a EEG testing technician. It's testing of the brains. People with epilepsy, seizures, that has aneurysms and stuff like that. So I do tests based on that. You have a lot of people that's coming in with a lot of, having seizures. Like I said, having a lot of brain trauma. It's to read the brain waves. It's actually reading brain waves, testing for brain waves. What could be like if you building blood clots to form aneurysms and stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay.
He said, "What is that?"
I have to know.
I was like, woohoo. Well, I'm Nikki G, and currently I'm running the podcast, and that is my job for today. It doesn't sound, glorious as a neuro something, but hey, I'm working it.
You're working it.
Okay, let's digress to the topic at hand. So today I wanted to talk about the definition of love. What does that mean to individuals? You get in these relationships and that person say, "Oh, I love you." And for a lot of us, we thinking that we on the same page as that person, but in a lot of cases we're not, because everybody's definition of love is different. So is there one definition? multiple definitions? Can we even box it, and say what is, what fits,
Ladies first. Huh? It's
you
Valentine's
know?
Day. Valentine's week.
And when you use "I love you" in a relationship, does that really mean that that person is committed to you, or do they just love you?
Right.
Period. So let's start with the male first.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's Valentine's week. It's
Exactly.
I'm
y'all.
showing you some love, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so tell us your definition of love.
I don't have a definition
Well,
for
how do
love.
you identify love?
I think it could be circumstantial or subjective because like you said, people say they love you, but a lot of times it's not what you say, is what you do. So, and it can be for many different reasons. People can love you personally because maybe I love you, you don't love me. Maybe because something you do for me or have done for me. And sometimes I don't think people really even know if they in love themselves. Um, you have that false sense of love until something happens and then you can just walk away from it. I don't think you can really, box it in and say it's one type of love or one way to love. So it's kind of hard to define love to me.
So you define love by actions, not
Yeah.
necessarily the word, but the actions behind the word. That's how you can tell if that person loves you or if you love that person by your actions, right?
Yeah. And their reaction to, because how can I put it? I thought I'm going to say I was like 19. So at this time, I thought I was in love, but then that didn't turn out too well because we're not together at this point in time because infidelity, things like that. And she would say, "Oh, well, she started it, so she was like, I love you," and then it's kind of like, how can I put, somebody keep having to, say something over and over again,
Hmm.
like everything they do, I love you, or everything you do, I love you, I love you, I love. I don't feel it as much as you showing it, because people just say things, like a person keep on saying, yeah, I'm a real person. I'm
Hmm.
genuine. You should believe me. It's like you keep trying to. I don't know if you're convincing me or you're
Mm-hmm.
convincing yourself. Do
Mm-hmm.
you love me, or you're trying to make yourself feel like you do
Mm-hmm.
by saying it. So that's why I don't believe it's what you say is what you do.
So in that instance, in that relationship, you felt like that person really didn't love you because she said it too much, or you felt like her actions didn't match the words,
You
or
just didn't feel it. You didn't. I
you didn't
mean,
feel it, but maybe she did.
well, if she felt that, I don't think she would be um, promiscuous. As promiscuous as she was,
Well,
because it
maybe
wasn't
she
one
felt it in
person.
multiple places. Let me stop because this your life. Let me
I'm
stop.
not. I'm cool with it now.
Like that.
I'm cool with it
Might
now.
have felt it in multiple places. I mean,
Probably
she
did.
might love you, but
And if she
hey,
listening, she know.
Well,
When
well,
she hear this, she'll know.
no
'Cause
disrespect, she know. Okay,
she
so
know.
you define love by actions,
Yeah, I
a
do.
person's actions. Okay, Savanya, what's your definition of love? Or how do you identify love?
I mean, to a certain degree, I do understand the point of action. Love is action, but it's also an emotion. You know, it's feelings. So when you I look at it like, for me, love for me is unconditioned. You not judge me by my characteristics or who you see, because from what I've learned of love, men, and this is just my opinion, I don't have to, no one has to agree with that, but I feel men are visual with love. Women are more emotional with love. Men love based on what they see. We love based on what we feel. You know, when you treat us a certain way, then we feel like you giving us something that we need, which we want to feel love. You know, I'm not saying a man don't, but women like to feel love. We like to feel like we're desired. You know, we feel like we're the one, you know. And we all can sit here and say that, you know, yeah, people, you so right, Melvin, about women saying, you know, I love you, I love you, I love you. You know, that's why I feel like love shouldn't, that word should not be used loosely, because it's so many times it's easy to say loving that person, but do you like them? Because nature, by nature, we supposed to love each other. That's a natural feeling that was put into us. We was, you know, so it's about how can you really love somebody when you don't even like them? First, you got to start learning you got to like this person. You can love them naturally, but there's difference between love and being in love.
Okay, so your definition of love comes from just things happen naturally, or just the unconditional type of love?
The unconditional
That's
type
your-
of love, being able to accept someone, not, you know, not trying to change them, but accept them and allowing things to flow, steady making it, trying to rush and make things happen. You can't make anyone love you. Or you can't do, it doesn't matter all the things that you do for a person. That doesn't necessarily mean that person loves you. You know, you got to have compassion, empathy, and sympathy. You know, some people walk around cold hearted. You know, they don't have that empathy and compassion to really genuinely love somebody. You know, you got to take love is when you take self. It ain't all just being selfish. You being selfless. So for me, I just look at it like I just allow myself to love me first, and then I see what it is having a companion. I see what it is for us having someone in my life to be able to show me a love that I need.
So you identify love by action as well,
Yeah.
and action like the unconditional type love. So have any one of you guys been in a relationship where you may have told the person I love you, but deep down you really didn't? You were just saying the words, maybe, or maybe that person said it to you first, so you felt compelled to say it back.
Yeah. That's what I'm
What about
saying.
you?
Condition.
I've only been in two relationships. The one that didn't work and the one I'm in now. And that one's 12 years in the making. And I don't know. Well, I've been on her since 7th grade. So I wanted her. I went after I got her. And I mean, we don't even say I love you all the time. So that's why I kind of feel, like I said, it's action based, because we'll go days, weeks, maybe months. I couldn't tell you
Oh.
when we say I love you. It don't, and you wouldn't think that by all the kids we have and all the time we spend together,
Yeah.
but we don't say I love you all the time. I mean, when is the last time we said I love you?
Do you feel like you need to hear that? I used to be like that. I'm not going to lie. I used to want to hear it.
No, I don't feel I need to hear it, because I know, I know she does. I can feel it more than, her having to say it.
Over and over and over.
Yeah.
Love is consistency for me. It's consistent. That's a big part of my definition of love. Being consistent with the things that you say, how you treat me, how you talk to me, you know, how you interact with me, how you communicate with me. That shows me a lot. You care somewhat for me. Whether you in love with me, it shows me that you're working at the steps of being in love. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with love.
I wanted to do this show to show, I'm going to use myself for an example. Like, I've been in relationships where the person might say, I love you, and I say, I love you back.
Right.
But over time, I realized that their definition of love,
Was
which I
different.
consider dysfunctional, and my definition of love was totally different. So
Right.
all the years I spent saying I love you to this person, thinking that we were on the same page, we were not. So I feel like it's important, if you're out there, you're dating or you're in a relationship, that you ask the person to define
That's right.
what they mean when they say that I love you. It's not that you're being mean. Just as Savanya said on the previous episode, you're collecting data.
There you go. You collecting data.
Very important going forward, because when that person came back and asked me, do you think that I love you? I said yes, in your own dysfunctional way.
There you go.
So I wanted to show that everybody's definition of love
It's
is
different.
different.
It's totally different. Yes.
So you just can't assume that everybody's going to think like you when it comes to the words I love you. And then you have your group of people that say, oh, I love that person, but I'm not in love with that person. It took me a minute to grasp that, because either you love me or you don't.
Yeah.
But it is a difference.
I understand you love your animal maybe, and you something happened to it, but if I'm a human, I'm with you in a relationship, I will hope you in love with me.
Right. Exactly. That's
But
why-
I don't, either you love me or you don't.
Well, I did define love differently, I guess, when I was younger. When I was more religious, I'll say, because when I would read the Bible, like if you read the Bible and you look at how God loves us, as opposed to, or how the Bible says God loves us, opposed to how we feel God loves us, and that's the unconditional type of love, where it's not because of something you've done.
Right.
It's because of who he is, so to speak. So
Exactly.
you can apply that, because I did try to apply that to my life for a while ago, where I would say, 'cause it's just like when you're in a relationship with someone, let's say they cheat, because some people can't understand how somebody could be with somebody after they cheat on them, or something like, or do something. It can be anything. And if you applied, that concept to that situation, where I love you because of who I am, then you can see why somebody would take somebody back. Because I had a friend when I was incarcerated, for instance, and his girlfriend came to see him, and she told him, hey, I cheated on you or whatever. And he was all heartbroken about it. He told me when he get out, he was going to cheat on her, and he was going to do this and that. And I told him, I said, hey, you know what would hurt her more is when if when you got out, you were faithful, and you didn't, go try to hurt her the same way, because she gonna think about it. If she loved you and she did what she did, she was woman enough to tell you what she did. So when you get out, and if y'all still together, it's going to constantly be on her mind that I messed up, I cheated on him, I did this and that. So if she's sitting there and she looking at you and she like, well, he not reacting to it, because then you give her a way to, if you go and cheat, you give her a way to justify what she did. But if you just stayed faithful, then, and he actually did that, took that advice, they still together. I can't tell you how the relationship is going in the inside, but, they still together. Had another child and everything. So,
And like you say, that works for certain people. It everybody can't handle that type of, truth and reality. And he did, and that's a good thing, because that shows that he wanted the relationship.
Exactly.
He wanted
He had
the
his
relationship.
mind
Now,
made
if
up.
that's what it comes, it depends on the individual person if they want the relationship, or if they genuinely true about being with somebody, being loving somebody, having a future long-term relationship commitment with someone. A lot of people walking around, they don't know what they want.
yeah.
You know, so let alone talk about love. You don't know what you want. You don't really know. You don't. And another thing, they don't know how to love. We all been there. I've been there. I'm gonna speak for me. It's the time I didn't know how to love. I thought I was loving right. I thought I was loving right by being submissive to everything he said. I didn't say nothing. I just kept quiet. I didn't voice an opinion. I didn't have my own voice, because I felt like if I spoke out, I was like you. going into the religious term, women keep your mouth closed, how you was taught and brought up to, women don't speak. I didn't say too much. My demeanor by nature is already dominant and aggressive. But for me to submit myself to a point of saying I'm just not going to say nothing because I want to take the low road, just sit there, don't say too much. Like I said before in the previous show, sometimes that enable your significant other. And people take advantage of people even when they know that you love them. They know you care about them. Like you said, Nikki, everybody don't love the same. Your definition of love may be totally different than my definition. So I think it's very important when people do start to say they love each other, give a true definition of that. Mm-hmm. Explain to the person, what is it? Because I've asked, what you love about me? Those are the questions you need to be asking. What do you really love about me? Don't look at the outer, because I know men, like I said, it's visual. First thing they look at, oh, she nice, she look good, got nice, Then they start looking at my financial. Am I stable? Am I, do I got my head on straight? I mean, those are things you do look at. But at the same time, is that your only reason for loving me? Because you see what you can potentially get out of me or from me, or what you feel that I potentially give you, So I just say love, to me, you have to know what you want for yourself loving, and then someone else can bring you love too in your life. It's not hard. I feel like it's not hard to say, I love this person, but genuinely you love this person. It's not hard when you genuinely, you love them, and you would do anything, be there for that person and help and support whatever it is you feel your definition of love. But I feel it's harder when you sit in there lying about loving that person when you really deep down inside you don't love. Like we were saying once before, I've said to a guy that I loved him, just because he said. And then I had to start thinking to myself, I mean, it wasn't long. It didn't take me long to figure it out, but I started saying to myself, you know what? I ain't even fit to use that word like that. I said, I'm going to tell you, I like you a lot. Mm-hmm. I had to rephrase it. I had to apologize. I say, because that's something I just don't do, go around saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. No, I like you. I have a lot of like for you. I can't say where we're going with it right now. Mm-hmm. But I like you. So
I think your upbringing have something to do with it too.
Yeah, it does.
Because you have a lot of kids, like, I'm going to speak for black people in general, because I can't really speak on other cultures. I don't know how they raise their children. But I know in black homes, like most boys, for instance, when they're young, a lot of dads are already gone, whether they're incarcerated or they dead or, they're in the streets. And even they like to say that, black, they don't say that black boys don't need love, but they don't like to show it. They don't like to show the, the bond between the father and the son, or the father and the daughter. And then those kids grow up and they look for that in other people. Mm-hmm. And then that's how they get attached to the wrong people. Because you have little girls looking for the love of their father or their mother in other people. And, that person might have, a little bit of that, characteristics of that. But overall, they might just be a bad person. People good at masking and manipulating people.
Yes.
Especially if they know that this is something you're longing for. Because I have conversations with other females, even, homosexual relationships, that, and they talk about how their girlfriends are looking for their mother or their father in them, and they feel like kind of, they embrace them more because a female with a female, the other woman, she can kind of sense, I guess, what that girl is missing. Maybe she dealt with it on her own. Or, I don't know how they put it together, but, you can see it's just, I don't know.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what I would like a lot of people to think about is that I feel like I'm a conspiracy theory person, but I feel like in African American / Black homes, that is what most predominantly Caucasian society wanted us to be separate.
Right.
They want to put the man in prison or keep him out of the home. Period. He's on drugs or something, or he's away from the home. You keep the mother and the daughter separate. You know what I'm saying? That separation.
Fighting with
They
each
didn't
other.
want that family unit, and that's what we're missing.
Right.
So now we're seeing I don't know how many generational curses and years and years and years, and now we're seeing now that we're older, we're seeing it. So the question comes to play: what do we do about it?
I mean, you can start in your household for one.
Be better mothers, parents, fathers, mothers,
But then
and
again,
fathers.
You can't teach your child what you don't know. So it's kind of up to that person to recognize it too and want to fix it themselves. You're right.
That's the
They don't even realize. A lot of people
Right,
don't
you don't
realize what they're
realize.
doing.
Yeah, I kind of found it out indirectly, I guess, because my dad, I had my stepdad in the house with me since I was probably before I can remember 3 or 4 maybe, but my dad was around. I could go see him if I wanted to. My mom never kept me from him or anything. He just didn't want to be that type of parent. He was in the streets. My stepdad, his dad was more of a girls, you know, girls type of dad, if I'm saying that right. Like, he was more on his girls. Like, he showed his girls love, his boys. He was hard on them. Y'all can go to work, get out of my house, do the, so his dad, my stepdad's father never showed him any love. But when I was little, I never paid attention to it. And as I got older, then I started noticing, how my dad was, how my stepdad was. And I said, well, when I have kids, I'm going to be this way. And with my kids, like my boys now, they'll tell you, when I come in the house, I'm like the first person they're going to run to, even out of their mother, they're going to run straight to me. And, when I see them running around the house, I'm come here, give me a hug, hug them, hold them, talk to them and stuff, because I know that's what the black community is missing,
That's
you
true.
know what I'm saying, with black men. And because the kids, I even have like a group of young guys that I be around, and I can tell the difference in how they're raised or were raised, as opposed to how I was, and the things that I went looking for. I opened books, and I started studying psychology and stuff like this. So I started on my own. You don't have to go to college to
Exactly.
open a book and say,
That's right.
You just got to be curious.
yeah, this is what's going on. You can watch the movies, you can watch, what's going on in the world, but then, you open the books and you'll find, that it does have an impact on your children when, you throw them to the side or you negligent, you know what I'm saying, you neglect them, and you just want to be out there in the streets, and you come home, they barely see you and stuff like that. So, I always make sure I come home. I'm gonna come home every night, one way or another. I'm gonna come home, and I'm gonna go. Either I'm gonna go and wake them up, or when they wake up in the morning, I'm gonna be the first thing they see. And I do the same thing with the girls. I can't go nowhere without them. They gonna be right behind me anyway. But as much, I think they kind of separate that, because as much as the girls need the love, the boys need it too. And I've watched that happen where parents are more compassionate towards the girls. Like, oh, she's a girl, she need this, she need that. And the boys, oh, boy, get out of here, stop crying, stop being a punk, stop being this, you sensitive, you. And
That's what we taught. Don't
But
cry.
you're breaking the generational curse. You're breaking the curse by being now doing those things with your children. Although, because you probably didn't receive that in the household, like you were saying. And I can relate to that, because it's certain things that I had to even apologize to my own children about. That's generational curse. Like you saying, this is what we seen in the household. What do we do to break it? What do we do? And if you're not knowing, those are the mistakes I made as a parent. I went off of what I did, experience with, I was coming up in a household. My mom was working all the time, never really can be the nurturing mom. She provided, She made sure we was taken care of and clothed and hair was combed, but she couldn't be there to give us that emotional love, that the attention. So what that did, that transparent over into my life with my children. So that's one of those things I had to go and forgive myself and ask for forgiveness for my kids because I saw this and I reciprocated the same behavior to my children. So it also starts with you recognizing early on. I mean, I'm older now. I realize, but I don't make excuses for what I've been through and what I've done, and I just ask that to encourage other people. If you got that chance, my kids grown now, so what I do, I can't pay back what I didn't do. I got to show them now because they women. So I got to show them now. They needed me as little girls and mama was working. Mama was present, but wasn't present. It's like you got the father in the house, but he ain't in the house. See, that's how I am. I'm in the house, but I'm not in the house. That's how I was feeling with my situation. And so I had to learn as I gotten older and I started seeing and really evaluating myself. I had to learn that, you know what? You can be a mother, but were you a good parent? That's the thing. And it start with understanding that our kids, we have to be their parents. We have to show them. We have to be there. We have to let them feel love. Just like they know you love them. They know daddy love them. Because daddy come home, daddy show them, he spend time, he take time. That's why we say love is action. They wouldn't have never known that. Could you say your daddy loved you if he ain't never showed you? You ain't never seen him. You knew you can go over there, but he never spent the time with you like you wanted and everything. That's what I'm saying.
But see, that's the thing. Everybody don't love the same.
Exactly.
So your mother showed you love,
But it was different.
but her love came in as what the scientists or whatever experts call acts of service.
Right.
Her going to work. Like I used to tell my kids, I'm like, Mama, what am I get for my birthday? And I might say, go over there, baby, and turn that light on. And they turn the light on, I say, happy birthday. That was my showing you love. You got some lights on, now go sit down. But I'm just saying, your mom loved you,
Yeah.
but
course.
she showed you not in the way that you want to be, that you want to show your girls. So that's why I feel parenting is picking up where our parents left off, or we feel like they're slacking.
Right.
We gotta, correct it, or going forward, we
Break
make
the
the
cycle.
decision. We're not gonna do it this way. We're gonna do it this way. But hopefully, the way that you decide to go is beneficial to your children and yourself.
Yeah. It
But
did
my
eventually.
kids, I told them, I have grandsons. So my question to my daughters was, what type of black man do you want your sons to be in the world? And you base your decisions off that answer. What type of man do you want him to be? Do you want him to be a mama's boy at home, no job, no nothing? Keep doing everything for him and see what you get.
Right.
What type of man do you want to, put out there into the world? It's okay to love on your kids and stuff, but you got to have some kind of plan, something.
Yeah. That's
Because
what
like you said, they're kids now, but they're going to be adults soon. Before you know it, out there in the world.
I mean, I don't know if she gonna be able to do that
Just
by
preparing
herself without a black man in the house. I mean, I'm saying like, shout out to all the single moms who did it, and who continue to do it. I know it has to be hard because
Yes.
it's
I
some
agree.
things out there that I wasn't prepared for. I'm a black man being out there. It's things I'm still seeing and still learning. I'm just 32, and when I see them now, I'm like, I don't know if I want my kids to even experience this. So you try to, because as a black man, there's a lot of other things that they don't see or they will not get to see. As far as the parenting part goes, like I have to make sure that, in my opinion, I have to, you got to protect and provide. So along with providing, I have to make sure that no one, approaches my family the wrong way or, tries to harm them. And a lot of that it comes from how the type of man you are when you are away from home. Because I mean, a lot of people say, well, if you don't put yourself in certain situations, but you can't run from a lot of situations. You know, you can't run from life. There's one
That's
thing you
right.
can't run away from. And I like to tell people, you know, like police and stuff like they like to say that, oh, well, if you wasn't here, if you wasn't doing this, if you chose this life, listen, y'all come out, you know, a few days out the week and y'all interact with some of these people. I wake up next to these killers and these addicts and these, you know, these crazy people. I wake up next to them every day. I go to school with them. I go to the stores with them. So I have to be a certain type of person. You know, I don't have to engage in the things they're doing, but I will at one point have to teach my boys. I have 3 black men
Yes.
and I'm raising, then I'm gonna have to teach them how to deal with their environment and how to deal with, you know, outside of the environment with police, and that's hard to
Yes.
do. And for a woman to
Right. It's
have to do
very
that, you
hard.
know,
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was that woman too. Oh, it's Father's Day. I'm a mother. I'm a father. But I had to sit down and critically think about that. My son, I looked at him one day and said, you know what? Hell, I can't even teach my son to pee straight. Hell, I don't have a pen. You feel me? I'm like, well, what am I going to do about that? So going forward, I mean, it's okay to say you're a father, but just as Melvin said, it's going to come a point where you're going to have that role model for your son.
Yes.
So saying that to say, don't bring anything into your home
yeah,
and think that they're going to raise your child when they haven't been raised themselves. For me, I chose my dad for my son, my uncles for my son.
Right.
I try to surround him with positive men. Even in the school, I was so picky about the school he went to.
Right.
Because all those men in that school, they were positive influences in his life. That's why I think he is in the position that he is now. Because if he had a strayed away and just hung around, you know, certain people, he probably wouldn't be where he is right now. You know, these same people still look after my child right now. And I appreciate that. But women, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
I
going to
agree
have
what
to
he
find
said,
that role
totally.
model for your son.
Yes.
It's going to come a point where you're not going to
Say
be
a
able to
woman
teach.
can't raise a man.
You cannot.
if you
I'm
don't,
not a man. I don't know what men go
That's
through.
what I say. I don't know how to do that.
Me either. My son come on and ask me stuff over the top question. I'm like,
I'm not even.
let me
gonna-
take you to see pastor because I really don't know.
know.
You
Exactly.
know, after my father passed, you know, it was
And
hard.
we struggle as women trying to raise girls.
that's like,
Because they have their own personality, they got their own. I mean, we had them, we want them. Of course, you want your child to be like you, and you know, follow in your footsteps if it's positive. I put it like that. You know, you want your kids to kind of have your mom, but when they get older, and as like you teach them now, you got to teach them young, because as they get older, they gonna come into their own personality, their own way of thinking, and their own, you know. So it's good to have those father figures in the house, even with having girls, because the father's supposed to teach the girls of what kind of man that they really need to be surrounding themselves with, engaging with. Just as well, you got to teach the sons how to be men, how to treat women, how to do what he's supposed to do as a man. A girl need to see the father, how the father's supposed to love on his woman, his wife. You know, these are the things. It's important for both to be, and I really do feel it's very important for a man to be in the house for the kids, rather male or female, you know, even more for men, because of course, but women need to see, our young girls need to see that, because look at this, what we got going on here. These little young girls ain't loving themselves. They see all this, what they see on TV, want to show all this extra stuff, you know, doing all that. I feel like if they had that some of them had that true example of a father figure in the house, they wouldn't even be walking around here like that, acting like that. You know, it's just so much that I feel like you're right. That is very important to have that male figure in the house, positive. If it's not their biological, which you will want it to be about their father, but if it's not, have somebody that sets examples, positive examples, being able to encourage you to be better, do better, you know.
I think it's on both sides too, with the women
Yes,
too, because
it is.
you gotta have the right woman in the house.
Right.
Also, you know, with them with the girls, like you say, because
Not trying to be her friend. Too many women, mothers trying to be the children's friend.
I don't think I could raise 3 girls. And I tell my girlfriend that now. I say, listen, you got to come home. I mean, at the end of the
Can't do
day,
that with them girls.
yeah, you got to come home.
You got to
because
handle it, huh?
I don't know, I can either be, too assertive at times or something like, cause I don't whip my girls. And that come from my mom. She always, you can't whip a little girl, but I mean, I don't have the desire to whoop them anyway. So they get away with a lot anyway. With me, they can get away with murder. But, I tell her, man, you have to come home because without you, I don't know what I would do raising all of them, not just the girls, the boys too. It's hard. You need both parents.
Yes,
period.
you do.
And then you got to just be mindful of who you bring in your house because
Yes.
that is one of the biggest
Yes.
issues in the black community is molesting and abuse too that they don't talk about. They don't talk about that a lot. And sometimes, most of the time, it come from
The family.
the parents, and
Yep.
and the family.
It
so
is. It's a family.
And speaking on emotions, I always talk about dealing with your inner self. That is your emotional, your mental, and your physical being. You know what I'm saying? Well-being. So saying that to say, I met a young lady. I don't know where this lady came from. I was on the track minding my business. But anyway, she came up and said that she wanted to be married so bad, so she married this man. She had, I don't know, maybe 8 kids, I think. And he wound up molesting one of the girls. So I'm saying you wanted to have this picture of love that you envision, but I'm saying you're not researching the person you're trying to create this vision with. And that's what a lot of us do. We so quick to want to grasp on to what we think society say we need or what we feel looks perfect, but you really got to dig deep into yourself and figure out what works for you. And if you bring kids into the equation, you really got to be on point.
Yeah, very much so.
Because like I said before, when I saw my mistakes in my daughters, that crippled me for a long time. I'm still struggling with that. So you really have to be careful with that.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
we're
have to
not
be very
perfect, but just to see it in your kids,
Yeah,
it's a whole totally different level.
yeah.
mine under 10 right now, so they got a little ways to go before they start acting out. But
Just stay
I'm waiting on it.
consistent with them. You're there. Stay consistent.
But our concept of love does start from young,
Yeah.
when you're young.
When you're young. Yeah.
My last episode, I talked about love, but I talked about as kids, we get these, you get the Valentine Day cards and you pass them out. But what about that young girl or that young boy that didn't get the Valentine Day card?
Right.
A
lot of them.
And I said I was a young girl that didn't get anything. So I felt like I wasn't loved unless somebody was giving me something or And that's a bad concept of love because that's not love just because you're giving me things. And I grew up and I met somebody, he gave me everything I wanted. I didn't have to work or do nothing, but let me go out there and try to start that damn car and go somewhere. That's dead.
That's control. That's
But
that
I
possessive.
thought that was love.
toxic.
He loved me.
That's toxic love.
That's foolishness.
That's why it's very. That's
When
why I
I
say
think back
dating
on it
is
now,
data.
that's
You got to
foolishness.
start learning who these people you dealing with. People so quick to get into relationships and start families, and bring it. If y'all already toxic and y'all both mind all over the place, don't know which way you coming and going, and then you bringing a life into this world, and you still discombobulated. You got to see those are seeds that you're putting into your children. So you got to be very mindful that, girl, looking at it now at this age, if I knew what I knew now, but that's as we as black people, we as people, we perish from the lack of knowledge. Like you say, there's nothing wrong with picking up a book and educating yourself.
That's how I picked
Like you
up on a
speaking
whole lot
about
of
life
things that nobody
coaching.
told me
Life
anything.
coaches became because they educated themselves. They read up on things. They meditated on things that they needed to be able to give this to other people.
That's correct.
That's the only way you're gonna find it.
Exactly.
Even like the love, we talking about love, but if you don't talk about it, like a male's perspective, female's perspective,
Right.
males, we think we know what y'all want, and women think they know what men want,
Exactly.
and we pretty much both always wrong, and then you start blaming the other person for saying you're not giving me what I want or what I'm asking you for, but you're not giving them what they're asking for neither. And then y'all just go tit for tat back and forth until it ends up maybe tragic or, I mean, not tragic as, that bad, but, a toxic relationship, breaking up or something. And if you have kids in the middle of that, like I said, if you didn't ask them before, and then you find out later on that I shouldn't even been with this type of person from the
Exactly.
beginning.
That's
That's
I
what I
should
say.
have
That's
been
what I'm
left them
saying.
alone.
It's important to ask that person, especially when somebody say I love you.
That's why people ask.
Ask them
That's
to define what is your
love.
definition of love. What do you mean when you say you love me? And don't answer it for them. Just say that and be silent. Because sometimes we can give the person the answer and they're just going to really repeat back what you said. So it's important that you ask a question and you remain silent to see what their true answer is. I learned that the hard way because that was me. And I picked up that people were manipulating me to a degree because I'm telling you the answer and you just repeating it back, really. So you have to ask that question because it's very important going forward. Especially like you say, you get with this person, you think you in love, y'all have kids, then that complicates it on a whole nother level. When you can avoid all of that by just asking that simple question,
Communication.
What do you mean when you say you love me? Now, I did take a class in gender communication. And one thing I do remember in that class was it said that males show love more than they verbalize it. Like they may wash a car or they may fill your gas tank or they may do something around the house. That's saying I love you versus them just saying directly I love you.
Give you my jacket. Or if we
That's
walking down the street,
Exactly.
It's true.
put you on this side of the
That's
street.
why we say
Love
it's
language.
Action. It's an act.
It's an action.
It's an action.
You can kind of tell. I have a lot of friends, and I look at some of the women in the relationships, and I mean, if they call it love, then
Right.
You know what? They probably haven't educated themselves on what is love. They probably didn't even thought about it.
And then you got some
Because I
people
was
that say
like
they
that.
love.
I didn't know.
They love and they shower you with all this, but that sometimes money. I've been in this situation. Yeah, the money, but that's all you was trying to do. It's like you was trying to buy your way into. You know what I'm saying? Telling me you love me, buying me things.
But some people
That ain't love.
identify love through gifts.
Yeah,
But that's-
they do.
But that's why I said we all have our own love language.
Exactly.
And what I discovered before this show is that it is 5 types of love language. The first one is words of affirmation.
I love you, I love you, I love you.
Not even that. It could be something simple as I'm proud of you, or that person may have done something nice.
I appreciate you. All that.
Some people love that way. The next one is acts of service, as I just said. Female, I'm like that. If I get up and cook you dinner and I'm tired, I must
I have to
really
care
love
about you.
Because I ain't been do that for everybody, include my own damn children. But I'm just saying.
That make me laugh.
Girl, why?
Ooh.
Quality time. Even if you're not doing anything with that person, but just sitting there, maybe looking at some old movie or whatever, y'all spending that time together. It's just you two together. That's showing love to each other. Some people love that way. Physical touch. Some people are affectionate. Are you an affectionate person with your?
Me?
I'm very
Beyonce, yeah.
affectionate.
If I
Now, I ain't
need
talking
it.
about leading
Nah,
up
nah.
to other things. I'm just
Nah,
talking about
just-
something simple as holding her hand or rubbing her
as-
hair or something.
As big as I am, I'm about 280, 270.
You don't look like it.
That's black. I got on black.
Make
but
you look small, don't it?
but being this big, I just like sitting there. When she rub my arm, she'll tell you, all you gotta do is rub my hand, my arm, and she be like, I'm not finna rub you because all you gonna do is go to sleep. But that relaxes me. I like that.
Yeah.
And just me and her sitting there, maybe rub my head, I don't need a full blown massage or none of that. But just, a little touch, a little rubbing like
Yeah.
this or rubbing this, and I'm fine. That makes me feel good. So, yeah, and quality time for sure.
Yeah.
What
Uh,
about you? You
Yeah, I'm
affectionate in
I'm
your
very
relationship?
affectionate. I
You be
like
boo
he's
boo, gaga, boo boo
girl.
boo boo.
It's not that like you said, we under each other. I rub laying on him, I rub chest. I'm a Philly person. So I have to touch and rub, And it relaxes him, but it also relaxes me.
Yeah.
It also it makes our environment calm. When everybody just cool and we both just relax, you can just like you say, it's not about trying to arouse or go into another area. It's just about us both being relaxed, content with one another, just sitting there, just engaging with each other. Sometimes you just sit there and you just look at a person, you rub. I like to rub. I like to rub hair, I like to be rubbed. So that for me, that's one of them love language I like. You know.
and if y'all knew black men, I say black men have PTSD. We have really do.
From the being taught not to show affection.
Affection.
All the
Yeah.
way from
I never thought about that.
Yes.
That's why some men run from women that's overly affectionate because they're taught I can't show that.
You
Even though
can't-
they might like it, they can't show that
you can't
affection.
you
Ain't
can't
that
cry. You
something?
can't.
But I can't just show affection like that to anybody.
But I'm saying you could be with a person. I've been with somebody like that. I'm like, what is
You
wrong
can't go
with you,
rubbing
fool?
everybody down now.
But then I've been with overly sensitive people and bust out crying and stuff. And it shocks me because you don't see most men, they don't cry. So when you see a black man cry, that messed me up.
And it's PTSD because you gotta think about when we leave the house. For one, when we leave out of that house, if it's not the police, if it's not other black men or other people, there's a lot of stuff that goes on from the moment we leave out the house. Whether we living on something positive, and Lord forbid you not someone who in the streets, because then you really have a lot coming at you. But if you just going to work, recently, this was last month. I got pulled over and searched 3 times. I have license, insurance,
Wow.
registration. I wasn't even doing anything. I'm leaving the bank, and the other time I was speeding, but there's still no reason to pull me out of my car, search me, and talk
And,
crazy.
yeah, do
and
that.
Take pictures of my. They took pictures of my VIN number, my ID. They took
Oh,
pictures
wow.
of the inside of my car under the hood, and told me if they see this car again, we gonna pull it over again. Now, we deal with that on a daily basis. That type of discrimination in different places, or just going into places and everybody turn and look at you like he gonna steal something. He gonna do. So when you come home, or when we come home, and I tell my girl,
That's supposed to be your peace.
yeah, I want to come home and you in there yelling and acting crazy and doing all that extra stuff. There's a time and place for that. When I come home, I rub or it can be something simple.
Just show me some love.
Yeah, a hug. It could just walk up to me and give me a hug. Give me a hug, kid. Then you can start acting crazy. But I don't start crazy as soon as I walk in the house. Because I'm already, and then see, that's where things escalate. You don't know
Yeah.
what I just dealt with when I just left from outside. And then I come home, and then now, all this is going on in front of the kids and stuff. It's not an excuse, but it's just something that
It
happens.
happens. It's true.
Because our mental states is somewhere else.
But women, we suffer too, though.
Yeah, we do.
We deal with
y'all
things, maybe not to the degree as a male,
Right.
but we have our own things too. And when we come home, we don't want. Well, I know I don't. I don't want to deal with
No.
all that extra.
All that hollering, hooping, and throwing stuff, breaking stuff. See, I'm a walk out type person. You
He's
know
so
what
calm. I just don't even see you raising your voice. I've never seen.
I raise it, but
It could be something going on, and he's the only calm one. Well, I guess he don't. You just calm.
That's
That's
the
a
crown.
good thing. But I always said when you do get angry, somebody gonna get the business.
But I
Too
think
quiet.
I think for me, like
said
me,
too
like
quiet.
he's saying, come on. That's why I try to diffuse things before they even happen. I mean, I know your demeanor and your way when you walk in, but that's why I think it's very important. Hello, how was your day? How you doing? People, you don't know, like you said, you don't know you don't know what I've experienced. Don't just come walking in the door. Yeah, man, what we gonna eat? And then what no, ask me, hey honey, hey baby, how your day was? We supposed to engage one another like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we both had a day where we don't know we may have talked on the phone, a couple of times throughout the day, but you don't really know what happened from the time you got off and you came home, or what happened throughout that time you wasn't talking. So, I think that's why I say for me, affection and love language is one of those where y'all engage with one another on how each other day is and what's going on with each other, because we can get into a confrontation or an argument and it ain't even about us, but it started because we didn't even know how to approach each other because we already had things going on in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's important to learn these love languages. So going forward, you may be in a relationship like Melvin. Like he said, they don't say I love you every day, all day. But you have to be able to recognize love in a relationship before you decide you want to accept that as love. You know what I'm saying? Look for that in that person. And if you need to be told that you're loved every day and that person's not telling you, maybe that's not the person for you then.
Right.
If they're not feeding you internally, maybe that's just not the person for you. I don't know. But these are different ways that people show love without even saying I love you, period.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I did a little test I found online. So I want you guys to take this test. Just type in love languages quiz. Let me see.
The 5 love languages.
There it is.
Okay.
5 love languages. Should be a quiz.
Is it the couples quiz or
Five
is it
love
I would
language
do it
quiz.
single. Yeah, that's it. I would do singles. Type in the 5 love languages for singles. 5 love language quiz for singles.
Mine ain't read it. Okay. Is this it you
Let me
saying?
see. This what it looks like. Here.
yes, this one?
That's it. Yeah. Take that
For
test.
singles.
You got it.
Let me see.
I want them to take this test because it tells you what your love language is by answering these questions. You got it, Sabrina?
It ain't downloading quick enough for mine. I don't know what's wrong. I'm on the page.
Let me see.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get anything else from this podcast, I want you to know that everybody doesn't show love the same. Everybody doesn't define love. It's up to you to figure out what that person's definition of love is. And the best way to do that is just to ask. And if that person gives you a definition, see if it's followed up with actions. Actions are very important because a person can use words all day long, but if it's not followed by any kind of actions, you might want to ask yourself, is that person being truthful with you? Somebody you're looking kind of, ooh, what is that?
I'm just reading the questions.
Yeah. The test that they're taking, the end of it would tell you what is your love language. What type of way do you show love to people that you do love? And yes, it can be repetitive. It got on my nerve towards the end. I just started pushing the buttons, but yeah. Maybe you have an idea of how you show love or how others may show love. Won't you tell me about it? You can find me on Facebook at Confessions with Nikki G. Don't forget the E in Nikki. Also, you can find me on Instagram or on my website at nikkig.org. Maybe you're not listening to me on the podcast, or maybe you're not a podcast person. You can also find me on YouTube.
Some of these questions.
They're repetitive. You can find me on
Yeah.
YouTube. Please share and subscribe. Maybe this episode may not help you, but you may know someone that it can help. It doesn't hurt to share with somebody that may could use this information. That's the purpose in this show, is to help people with things that they may be suffering from.
I'm done.
Okay, what's your love language style?
Quality time.
See,
Told you.
he's a quality time person, and he said that he defines love by action, and quality time is action. You
32% quality time and 29% physical touch.
see, it picked your right love language. Isn't that something?
Oh yeah, that's right. I need that. I'm telling you, if I don't, then I'll be out there getting it from somewhere else.
Now look, that's a different topic for another show.
Well, I'm not saying. I mean, I do believe that growing up around a lot of women. Like I said, I have 9 aunts, 6 sisters, and I've seen them both ways, play the game and get played. And I've always heard. I think it's probably a black creed too. What you won't do, somebody else will.
Yeah.
Kind of grow up with hearing that all the time. What you want to do, somebody else. So cooking and cleaning and affection and stuff like that. But I do, take the time out to reciprocate the same thing. So, I may walk in the house today and say, what you want? What do you want to eat? Because I can cook myself. So I don't always rely on her to cook. Or, I might just walk in there and be like, come here and massage her for a little bit. Little things like that.
Dang, how many questions is here?
Keep going.
Oh, no. So, I don't know. I don't require anything, that I'm not willing to reciprocate myself. And it's not a lot. I'm very simple. I just don't want to argue. That's one of the main things. I do not want to argue. And I'm not even too big on trust. I don't put that much emphasis on trust.
What do you mean?
I know a lot of women say trust is, or a lot of people say trust is big in a relationship. You have to trust the person you're with. But to tell you the truth, I don't really trust nobody. And the reason for that, the reason why I say that is because I can't see myself putting trust in something that can change its mind at the drop of a dime. Like, a person can change how they feel about you tomorrow. It might not seem like they can, but it just depends on, what led up to that change. But they can if they want to. Or they can do something, nobody's, unable to, like, it's not like, oh, you can't cheat or you can't talk to somebody else or you can't, it's like love doesn't stop you from doing, like we're human. So I remember I used to tell myself when I was young, I used to say that, yeah, she might not, cheat with this person or that person. I say, there's always one person out there somewhere. Don't know who he is.
But you have to trust.
But I don't.
Even if it's just a small portion, because why would you leave your child's, your fiance with your kids if you didn't trust her?
Oh, well,
you have to trust. You know what I'm saying? You may not fully trust her on certain things, but you got to have a little trust there.
Yeah, well, I have trust. Maybe, it may sound contradictory. I do trust, on that ass, as far as what she on, what type of mother she is and stuff like that. I'm talking about like relationship, like as far as the cheating, like part of it, or, interacting
So
with other
it's
people.
almost as if you're kind of putting a Band-Aid or you're trying to prepare yourself. So if it does happen, your attitude is, well, per se, versus you just trusting a person and trusting that they're not going to do it. But I don't know. That's kind of complicated because, everybody's human. You can't really say you fully trust somebody, but you kind of trust them to a degree. I don't know.
Man, how do you say you 100% completely trust somebody like you?
In a relationship, I don't.
just in life too.
Okay,
Like
let me see what I am.
That is
hold on.
kind of complicated.
Quality time.
Your quality time, what else did it say?
I'm quality time 30%, give 7%, acts of service 17%, words of affirmation 20%, physical touch 27%. I told you I'm a very touchy person.
So
Words of
y'all touchy feely. Mine's
yeah,
was words of affirmation for me
words of
and
affirmation. I'm
quality
high
time.
on that. Quality time and affirmations. Why? Acts of give.
I
Reason
guess
why
I
I say
didn't get
that.
that. I didn't get that growing up, so maybe that's why.
What
I think
My family was more, oh, what are you doing that for? It was never, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Okay, this is what you want to do. It wasn't no building up. And there's no disrespect to. But I'm just saying that's just how it is. So now when I get with someone and they build me up to a degree, I like that. I'm not saying I got to be built up every day, but if you just put it out there sometime, I like that.
I think I've grown into this woman because
You used
I've
to be-
received no reason why I think it's so low percentage on acts of gifts and stuff. I've always been taken care of. I've always been given things. So when you've become accustomed to being with people like that or been with someone like that, even though I was married and I've been with him for 15 years at that time, he's always taken care of me, showered me, provided for me. So it wasn't about gifts. See, that's what I'm saying. Me moving on from that was give me something else. Give me something new. A lot of times that's why you grow. That's why you date with purpose. You don't date to just be saying, oh, or you found the woman or the man you want to be with. I just, this and that. And that. I just want to be with, oh, he look good or she look good. No, I got a purpose of dating. I'm trying to find somebody. What is it that you can add to my life that I haven't had?
And my thing, dating or whatever, it's like, or whatever you want to call it, baby. I don't know. I done ran out of names. Look, if it doesn't help me prosper
That's it.
mentally, emotionally, physically, and then maybe financially, I don't know parts of it. That's anything. I don't care what it is.
That's it.
If you ask me to go somewhere, if it ain't prospering me in that shape, form, or fashion, it ain't happening. I'll just go in my house.
That's why I say they supposed
And
to
I have
add
to live
your
my life that way because when I veer off, it seems like I get in crap. And I stay in that crap for a long time before I get out of it. So I don't want to go down that road no more.
I just want somebody you can enjoy.
Yes.
Just
Emotionally, add
and-
to your life.
yeah.
Add. That's what I say. You add to your life. You want someone that you can add to your
Don't be
life.
breaking
I
these
can put
pe-
it back up.
Don't be breaking up people's stuff. What?
I'm on TV. I can put it up there. But yeah, just somebody you can enjoy. Like when I talk to my fiance, a lot of time what I tell her is like we be watching. I watch YouTube a lot. So music, Soul Child, and that song. I cannot think of the song. When he said, "I'll still love you when your hair turns gray,"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and
That's right. That's what
like-
I'm saying.
And I tell her that when I look at that video, and I always tell her, this is what I want. I want somebody that when we get old, we can sit on our porch. When our kids, they come over to visit stuff, like, because that's the examples that I grew up with
Yes.
as, a kid. That's what I saw. And that's why I said you have, like we all say, you have to show your children that if, that's the type of life you want for them to, be able to live a long, fulfilling life and, get old and stuff. Like you have to show those examples in the house while they're little. They want to see mom and dad together.
And nothing is
Unfortunately, it don't
perfect.
work like
Ain't
that.
nobody gonna say it's gonna be perfect. Nobody have a perfect relationship. That's another thing.
I just wanted people with this podcast to think about the definition of love.
Yes.
And when you hear that from a spouse or from your boyfriend or whoever, when they say that, I want you to think outside the bubble of just being, happy-go-lucky that person said they love you and ask them, what does that mean? And that will save you a whole lot of problems going forward in that relationship, period.
As you said, everybody definition is different.
And far as parenting, loving on your child, showing your child love is very important because they're not going to stay kids forever. They're going to grow up and they're going to be adults and they're going to have children. And that's where those generational curses come in. So I feel like going forward at this time, let's break those curses. Let's teach our children how to love each other and other people as well in a healthy way.
Yes.
And that would start by loving yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So if you want to know how or you want to hear more about loving yourself, I have 3 or 4 episodes on self-love you could go and look at or listen to. Is there anything else you want to conclude with this podcast before we end it about love?
Well, I want to thank Mr. Melvin for coming on, teaching us the male point of view about love.
Yes, let's give him a hand, baby. Thank you
Giving
for
us a
coming.
male point of view and being a good sport and just
Showing his
Yes.
sons how to be
Yes.
a man.
I mean, he seemed to be just
Well,
knowing
what
him.
my idea.
Seemed to be a good man, and
He
I
is.
and I
He good
and I
people.
just hope and pray that he continue to do what he need to do for him and his family. So that's a good thing. We need more men like this with that mindset, with that way of thinking.
Yes.
To be able to come in and teach us and women, us strong women. Even though we have our own careers, we still have to take time out to teach our young ladies. As well. So, I think if we come together collectively as a culture, our black culture, to fight to be better people, then we can start raising our children better. Because we in a different era than what we grew up, and we had big mamas back in the days. Ain't no more big mamas like that.
Oh, I still got one.
I
She
sure
still,
told my kids,
know,
honey,
see?
I ain't no granny grandma walking around with Lulu on. Granny gotta go work.
So now we
Yeah.
got to take on this responsibility
true.
to live up, because a lot of our parents back then depended on big mamas to teach.
Correct.
You feel me? So I think it's very important that we stand up. We take accountability for raising our children, women and men,
Grandkids, too.
and grandkids.
With that being said, I would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this podcast, or maybe you're watching us on YouTube. I would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to look at us and listen to us discuss this topic. Like I said before, maybe you have a comment or a question. You can go to my website, nikkig.org. You can find me on Facebook at Confessions with Nikki G. And I would like to say, have a good day. And I would like to thank my guests for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
us.
All right. See you next week. Or, I'm sorry, I may talk to you next week.